Presenting the VNCAA on ELEC-PN.
Welcome to the 256th Memory Madness on ELEC-PN, your PN junction for ELEC Sports News. I'm your host, Ray Seamoss.
And I'm June Konomos. Yesterday we witnessed the electrifying showdown between Team Paper Memory and Team NAND Flash. And by electrifying, we mean that Paper Memory got punched out lightning fast.
Yeah, punch cards just don't stack up anymore. But enough memory spent on yesterday's blowouts. We still have 5 electrifying teams vying for the Gauss Cup. Our first game of the day is a dynamic matchup between SRAM and DRAM.
Let's turn to our game day analysts, DDR Joe and D Ramachandran.
Team DRAM can score points in higher density than SRAM. While SRAM needs a whopping 6 transistors per player, DRAM needs only 1 transistor and 1 capacitor.
SRAM does need to keep their team small to combat costs. Isn't the breakdown something like $5,000 per gigabyte of SRAM versus just $625 for DRAM? No bias, of course.
Still, SRAM definitely has the power advantage. Because of charge leakage from the capacitor, DRAM cells need constant refreshing to retain information. That means higher power consumption.
And don't let that static in SRAM fool you. Where SRAM really shines is speed. It uses CMOS circuits and is closer to the CPU, which makes it much faster than DRAM, since a capacitor can't be charged and read at the same time. All things considered, I think SRAM has the edge.
Well, whoever wins this match better watch out for NAND. Both of today's teams are volatile and forget everything after powering down.
That's right, DDR Joe. The flip-flop in each SRAM cell is composed of 4 MOSFET transistors. Without any voltage driving the cell, the feedback loop between the 2 inverters is broken, and the data is lost.
Similarly, without a current to support all that refreshing, all the charge will leak out from the capacitor and into the cell of the DRAM.
Well, it looks like we're about to start. See you after a quick message from our sponsor.
Hi, Gar E.E. Woods here for RAM Technologies, the manufacturer for both SRAM and DRAM. Our SRAM is used universally in CPU register files, CPU cache, buffer cache for storage drives and routers. But wait, there's more! It's also popular in LCD screens and printers to hold images during display and printing. And look out for our low-cost, high-capacity DRAM lines as the main memory for computers, graphics cards, and RAM DACs everywhere. With RAM Technologies, you always save more.
Enough of that rambling, though. What a memorable match! Let's look at the play-by-play.
Here's a rewrite from Team DRAM in the second quarter, when they were still a little bit ahead. To write a 1, the bit line goes high and charges up the capacitor. To write a 0, the bit line goes low and discharges the capacitor. When it's time to read the value from the capacitor, the bit lines are first charged to midway between the high and low voltage states, usually half of the supply voltage. Then, the sense amplifier reads a 1 if the voltage on the capacitor is high, and 0 if it's low. Notice that this read is destructive.
Yeah, that's where DRAM self-destructs. Every time a player reads in a value, every player in the same row is refreshed, typically every 64 milliseconds, which makes them slower than SRAM. There's also the issue of charge leakage between capacitors and soft errors, where the value stored on the capacitor is accidentally flipped.
Those technical penalties really add up. And here's SRAM in the fourth quarter. Notice that even when no reads or writes are occurring, the inverters in any given cell are constantly reinforcing state with a feedback loop. To write a 0 or a 1, the bit line is forced low or high respectively, and the data in the flip-flop is updated. Like in DRAM, to read the value stored in the capacitor, the bit lines are first pre-charged to half the supply voltage. The sense amplifier then detects the slight voltage difference between the bit lines and reads either a 0 or 1 for low or high respectively.
In the final clock cycles of the game, SRAM goes for a fast break, relying on the superior performance, and SRAM wins!
What a DRAM-matic finish! That's the game, folks! See you next time on ELEC-PN, your PN junction for ELEC Sports News.
I've been your host, Ray Seamoss, signing off. And my co-host, Dr. Konomos.
Co-signing off.